Hey there, and welcome to the Dynamics Hot Dish Podcast, serving up stories and knowledge on Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform. This is What's Hot in Dynamics. You're now joining Merlin Schweiger, Liz McGlennon, and Ashley Steiner.
I played D&D last weekend for the first time.
Ugh, so now I'm hanging out with two nerds.
Do you even know what D&D stands for, Ashley?
Yes, Dungeons and Dragons. Right?
I think you just learned that.
No, I did not just learn that. No, I know a lot of people who play.
Of course Ashley's not played it. Why would you even ask such a question?
I don't know. Maybe there's a hidden nerd side to Ashley that we've never heard about.
There is, but it's not that.
Yeah, it's not that.
I mean, I've only ever played it one time, and I didn't really care for it. So
Why didn't you like it?
I don't know. It just I felt like it was a little too. I don't even know. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just sort of like rudderless. Maybe this is the fault of the dungeon master. But
I would say you might have had a bad DM.
I just feel like it wasn't that. The scenarios weren't that interesting. I didn't actually enjoy building my character that much. Like it just, I don't know. It just.
How do you not enjoy building your character?
I just didn't. I don't know. Creating like a whole like fake backstory. It's not a thing that I cared about. I don't know.
Interesting.
That's one of the things I like about Gloomhaven is that like all that stuff is done for you. You just like show up and play the character. It's fine.
I think it could vary dramatically by like the group of people you're playing with too. Like the group dynamic and the personalities, I would imagine.
That's probably true.
Well, I had a lot of fun.
Ash is just like,
And I thought building the character was one of the most fun parts. But I mean, the whole thing was fun.
So is D&D an in-person game, or can you play it online virtually with like friends that are not in like your area?
We played it in person. I don't know, Merlin, can you play it online? Do you know? You probably can.
I mean, why not? Like you don't actually require anything other than like a bunch of dice and some paper. So
right. We actually were like drawing maps out on like our giant whiteboards so that we could like know. Like my dog is barfing behind me.
Didn't you?
Well, we didn't hear it.
Okay.
Didn't you also dress up?
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah, so we did not do that nonsense.
Yeah, can we get
either.
a picture of that?
Yeah.
I think that our listeners would really love to see a picture of you all.
I'll give you a picture. Yeah. Yeah, we were really into it. I made this really awesome cloak for my character.
Nerd.
I have like nothing to contribute to this conversation. Like I was talking to somebody about video games the other day and they were listing all this stuff and I was like, so when does Mario Kart come in? Like that's my idea of like nerd stuff.
Nerd stuff. Mario Kart isn't even close to nerd
that
stuff.
Doesn't even count.
Mario Kart's the best though.
I mean, it's fun, but it's too mainstream to be nerd stuff, actually.
I did buy the Oregon Trail card game. Did you guys play the Oregon Trail?
We have it, but we've never played it. The card game. Yeah, I used to play like the computer game. Which version did you play? Like the black and green, like on the old Apple II or whatever?
Yeah, so I played, I mean, every version, right? That one, and then they upgraded to like the slightly colored, pixelated.
Yeah, where you could start like fishing and or hunt. Like it got better. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got the card game, and it was not as fun, obviously.
You can still play that online. Like I had a job a few years back where I was super bored and I just played the original version like for a few weeks straight until I got like the max high score. And if anyone got like died, I would just quit and start over because I knew I couldn't get the score I wanted.
Yeah, we both died. We did not make it.
It's a fun game.
Awesome.
I would say that's as nerdy as I get, maybe the Oregon Trail.
The Oregon Trail was a good time. Had to flip those 5 1/4 floppies in and out.
Yep.
On the Apple IIe.
Oh, I didn't have an Apple. We always had Windows.
Oh, I didn't either. It was at the school library.
Yeah, I was always in the computer lab.
Oh, your school has computers?
Yeah, we had computer class and we'd go play like Number Munchers. And you guys play Number Munchers?
We didn't have computers in my school until high school. We didn't have it in grade school. Mhm.
That's insane. I had computers my whole life at school. You didn't take like
Jeez.
typing classes?
I went to private school.
So did I.
Oh yeah, no, we didn't have computers like in the school.
Like I had a nun teaching me computer class. She
I
didn't
took
know
computer
anything
class-
about it.
I took it in high school. Like I took typing my freshman year of high school.
Huh. Yeah, no, I had it all of elementary school. She'd just go up and like hit the computer when it wasn't working.
It's amazing.
It was
I'm
super
sorry, is that
funny.
not what you still do? That's totally what I still do.
I
Like,
mean, kind
just
of.
work.
She was like she was old and just a nun and like
That's
didn't know anything
adorable.
about them.
It's actually kind of adorable.
Yeah. In hindsight. Should we move on to our topic for today?
Probably.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for our producer to move us along.
So we're going to talk about insights. And Merlin's our SME on that topic. So Merlin, take it
Right.
away.
Well, buckle up, kids. Prepare for lecture. We will be going through. No, I'm just kidding.
He will just get on a soapbox the whole
Oh, he
time.
for sure will.
I will. It's fine.
This will probably be our
I know.
longest podcast ever because Marilyn will just keep talking.
Wow.
We could just walk away and come back and still be talking.
You
So
can listen
customer
to it when it goes
insights.
live.
And sales insights and customer service insights and all of the various insights. Which insights do we want to talk about first? We talk about customer insights. It's the most interesting. Actually,
Sure.
it's just
Let's
like, yeah,
start
sure.
there.
Sounds great. Okay. Customer insights. It is a customer data platform. What does that mean? I can see you all asking yourselves. Well, I'll tell you.
I like how he assumes what we want to ask.
I also love the
Uh,
like this is like the radio storybook, like, oh, let me like go into it. Oh, did you like I don't know. Do you guys listen to stories on the
Sure.
radio back in the day? No? Okay,
Sure.
never mind.
No.
Totally
Yeah, a little
dating
bit.
myself with that one.
A little bit. Anyway, customer data platform. Is it a data warehouse? Sort of. Is it an MDM? Not really. These are the questions that I often get.
Do you want to
Some
define MDM
Yeah,
for our
sure.
listeners?
Fine.
for
So
Ashley.
MDM is master data management. Customer Insights is not a master data management platform. The way that I like to think about it, the way that I describe it when I'm presenting on this, as I guess I'm sort of doing right now, is that a master data management solution is very like transactional. Like it's sort of like a traffic cop with all of your data. It's like making sure that your data is following the rules and like going where it's supposed to go and in the format that it's supposed to be. And it's very like transactional, kind of involved in the day-to-day traffic movement. The customer data platform, similar to a data warehouse, kind of like sits off to the side and like keeps all of your data hanging out over there for other uses. Customer Insights is really good for segmenting your customer data and feeding it back into marketing. And it's really good for like data and analytics on customers overall, like across multiple different systems. So you pull in ERP data and CRM data and service data or website data or wherever else you might have data about your customers, you kind of smash it all together, which is sort of similar to what a data warehouse does. And so I feel like Customer Insights is more similar to a data warehouse, but usually people will also use a data warehouse as like backup or like historical trending. And Insights doesn't necessarily do that. Like it's never going to show you like this is the state of your data from 6 months ago versus the state of your data now. Like you could, I think in most situations, you could like use a data warehouse to almost like recover data that gets lost. Customer Insights will still just give you like real time out of your systems, but it still sits off to the side and does a pretty good job of aggregating things together for analytics.
It's
That's the high
interesting
level.
to me that it can't do historical trending because I feel like that's a common ask.
So it will show you your history, but it's history that's based on real data. So like think about it in your CRM system, you're tracking your activities, you track a bunch of emails. If I've got emails going back 6 months, Customer Insights will take those 6 months of emails and put them all together into this cute little timeline widget that you can drop back into CRM. So you can see like the emails in CRM and the orders out of ERP and the, I don't know, web traffic out of your e-commerce site or something like that, all together in one little timeline, which is cool. But what I mean about it not keeping track of like historical data is every time that it refreshes data out of CRM, it's going to be pulling your current account data. So you're never going to have the chance to go back and see, well, what was this account's address 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 8 months ago? You're only going to see their address as it is today because it's pulling real-time data. Often in data warehouse situations, you might be doing snapshots over time. So I might have my account record from 3 months ago, my account record from 6 months ago. Customer Insights isn't going to give me that, but it'll give me all the analytics about what's happening now based on the data that I've got.
That makes sense. So would you say the purpose is to bring, like, I'm trying to put myself into like customer insights, like how would I use it? So it's the purpose is because obviously you can show on a timeline how many emails you sent just in Dynamics, but the point is that you can't pull, to your point, the traffic visits to your e-commerce. So it aggregates data from multiple places. And is there any sort of limitation on what kind of system it can pull data from?
Yes, and then no. So that is essentially what it's for. So you could do that in your CRM with a bunch of integration work, right? Like you could have your e-commerce site integrated with your CRM and push over order history. You could have your ERP system integrated and push over like payments or invoice history or stuff like that. But building all of those integrations adds more complexity. It adds more maintenance and upkeep. And it's generally going to take you longer to do.
When do you want that data in CRM?
Right. And do you need to duplicate or triplicate that data in multiple databases and like pay for storage for it, right? Like that's probably kind of silly. Customer Insights lets you see all of that data together by aggregating it off to the side. And behind the scenes, it's putting it in Azure Data Lake. And so it's pretty cheap storage. And I don't actually think you can pay for storage anyway. You pay for like number of contacts that it matches or something. But so you keep all that data off to the side. Now I can see that full history of orders and invoices and payments and everything else. And I can surface that. There's an out-of-the-box widget, just like drop it onto a contact or an account form in Dynamics Sales. So I just see it all right there, but I don't have to actually put that data into that system. And so I feel like that's the benefit, is I can get that 360-degree visibility, like actually for real 360-degree visibility, not like the 360-degree like single pane of glass that we as Microsoft partners have been selling for the last 15 years on Dynamics CRM, but never actually comes to pass.
Was anybody else able to continue listening after he said triplicate? Is that a word?
Oh, maybe I made it up.
I was like, wow, I'm sorry, like that.
Well, we'll have to look up if it's a word. We can post in the show notes if it is.
Yeah. Put in the show notes whether or not I just invented a word.
Yeah, we can submit it to Webster, get it added to the dictionary.
That's perfect. I'll like take credit for it if we do.
Of course you would.
Of course I would.
Have it recorded. Obviously, you're the first one to say it.
Obviously.
Ashley's other question was about.
Oh, yeah. What was your other question?
Like
if you can connect, if you can connect to any source, right?
Yeah, for the most part, you can connect to any source. So it uses Power Query as its mechanism for pulling in data. So that's the same thing that you use in Power BI. It's the same thing you use in data flows. And so it's got 30 some different connectors to most database systems. So that you can pull data out of pretty much anything. I mean, it'll support like legacy, like ODBC and like old on-prem systems. You can connect to those through gateways and pull the data in. So you can do almost anything with source data. The other cool thing is because it uses Power Query, you can do a lot of transformation then once the data gets into Customer Insights, which can be super helpful if you've got like some really crummy old system that you can't actually change anything about, but like the way that it holds the data is totally different than the way that all of your other systems hold data. And so you can actually ingest the data into Insights and then do all the transformations in Power Query so that you kind of line it up with your other data and never have to impact your source system at all. So you don't have to like develop anything on the source end.
So does it allow legacy systems to kind of stick around longer then, because you don't really need to replace them to overcome some of these challenges that might have been the solution a number of years ago?
I think that's probably true. I feel like Microsoft's perspective is probably that, I mean, you're going to want to replace those legacy systems eventually because right, they're not going to give you all of the functionality that you need in whatever their specific domain is. But in the meantime, you can make better business decisions if you have visibility into that data. And so I feel like Microsoft kind of positions customer insights as a like in the meantime solution. Like I feel like you could get to all these benefits if you had like a full-scale service bus and you've got your master data management system and you've got your data warehousing, like you have all of these things. If you've already got all that stuff set up, I don't know that Insights is actually going to give you any benefit, honestly. But if you don't have that stuff set up, like building all those things out is probably like a 2 to 5 year process, depending on how many systems you have, how much data you have, how much like cleaning and matching and other work you have to do to line things up. You could drop customer insights in a matter of weeks and then be like, boom, I've got reports. And now I can tell marketing, like, here are all of the people who have purchased these things here and did these things on the e-commerce site and did these things with our salespeople and opened this many cases in our service system. Here's a list. Do whatever you want with it.
How much does customer insights cost? Like, I know you said it can be implemented within a few weeks, but like, what's the licensing cost?
I haven't looked recently, but I believe it's about $1,500 a month. And that gives you 100,000 customers. So if you have more than 100,000 customers in your final result set, then you have to add like purchase add-on packages.
So is customer an account from your ERP or is that a contact? How do they define customer?
Is whatever you define it as in customer insights.
Got it. Okay.
So it's flexible.
Right. So it's interesting because Insights started out, a customer was only a person, a contact. And I believe if we dig into the history of how this product came to be, as I understand it, Microsoft developed this product to help them match up all of their B2C customer data, because they had like a bunch of like Xbox data and then like Microsoft Store data and like, you know, all this other stuff that was on individuals scattered around, and they needed to bring it together. So they built a tool to bring it together, and they're like, hey, this is a good idea. Maybe we'll sell this. So when it was first released, you could only do it with contacts. You couldn't do it with accounts. And then, I don't know, 6 or 8 months or something after they launched it, and they added the ability to do accounts as well. So you kind of choose, like, are my customers organizations, accounts, or are my customers individuals? And then you kind of smash all your data together based on that.
So it has to be one of those two. You couldn't do like a custom table.
Correct.
Okay. So it's kind of flexible.
I mean, well, what do you have that's a customer that's not either an organization or an individual?
I don't know. I'm just playing like devil's advocate.
Are you selling to like fully sentient dogs? Like, just call them contacts. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I always think of when people say that is I knew somebody who used CRM to track their cows. So it wasn't a customer relationship database, it was a cow relationship.
Do you think you would use customer insights for the 360-degree view of cows though?
You never know, right?
How many systems do you have?
You might have health stuff here. You might have, I don't know. I found that was always like the most interesting use I've ever heard of.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if there was a scenario where you had a custom table as your primary customer record instead of, I mean, it wouldn't be ridiculous.
But
then
again,
you just define that as an account or contact.
Right.
You're going to have, say, some sort of finance system. Is your finance system going to be flexible enough to be like, oh no, I'm going to redefine the entire application and use cows as my customers? Like, no, you're just going to put them in as accounts. So then your cows are accounts, your accounts are cows.
I love that this cow thing has totally taken on. I think we should use it in all of our examples. I
mean, it's a good example. So then you're right. You've got your cow medical data in one system. You've probably got like milk production in another system. You've got, I don't know, end of life planning in another system. And so you got to put all that stuff together and then come up with your marketing segmentation for, you know, which cows are feeling a little bit sad today. And so we need to give them some extra feed. And then you spit that list out into a different system. And
you can totally tell we're all from the Midwest because all of this is like super relatable for us.
I mean, I'm just holding back because like I've learned so much about this industry because I've been working with dairy producers for the last year. And so I'm just trying to not even go there because I'm like, oh, everything you're saying is wrong, Merlin. That's a different topic for a different podcast.
It's fine. Different topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other cool thing that Customer Insights does, and this piggybacks off of our previous conversation about Dynamics marketing, is that all the marketing stuff has found its way into Insights now as well. So there was a period of time when there was the social listening tool, Microsoft Social Engagement. Well, first it was social listening, then it was social engagement, and then it died for a while, and then it came back as Market Insights, and then that died, and now it's the real-time insights inside Customer Insights. So all of the stuff on like web traffic analysis, social analysis, like listening to social media for use of specific hashtags or mentions of your company or, you know, mentions of your competitors or whatever you want to pull in, is now all inside Customer Insights as well, so that I can then, where possible, match that data up with my customers and again, enhance that actual 360-degree view to be like, okay, like this customer has called me these times, has ordered these things, and now is like visiting these pages on my website.
Or you can anticipate that maybe they're going to reach out because they're tweeting something.
Right.
So you can get in front of it rather than waiting for them to come to you.
Right. Right. Or you can see like they've opened 3 cases in the last 2 weeks, and now they're tweeting at us and saying angry things like, clearly we need to do something about this.
Exactly. I think I think I said this on the last podcast. I know I did, is that I think that's like the most exciting part of like marketing, is that you can start to take real-time action with the integration of Customer Insights. So I know these tools are like awesome on their own and they can do cool things, but like the more that Microsoft, like you're seeing the vision of what they intended, right? Customer Insights, I remember like 3 years ago, I was like, why would anybody do that? Like just build a data warehouse and blah, blah, blah. But like, obviously we don't have a crystal ball. We can't see where Microsoft is going to take it. But now I'm like, okay, I get why people would do Customer Insights. And so it's kind of cool to see it all come together.
Yeah, I agree.
Although if somebody does have that crystal ball, I would love to have access to it.
I think I've seen the ads on TV, actually. You just got to call Miss Cleo.
Oh, great. Perfect.
Yep.
Thanks.
She knows everything. I was going to say, though, that Customer Insights is not necessarily a silver bullet. If you listen to the Microsoft salespeople talk about it, and I have listened to the Microsoft salespeople talk about it, it sounds like, well, you just sign up for Customer Insights, and then you connect it to your source systems, and then you just like stand back and let the AI do everything for you. And then out the other side comes this like magical list of all of your customers and, you know, your churn propensity, like who's going to leave us in the next 3 weeks and all this magical stuff.
It's magic. Yeah.
It's magic.
You don't have to do anything. It just does it all for you.
It's AI, right? The AI does everything. The AI does some stuff and it's pretty good, but you're still setting up the rules. And so that's like most of the work in setting up Customer Insights is going to be either transforming source data or tinkering with the rules, because you're the one who gets to define like, okay, this system and this system match on this primary key field, and this is how, or there is no key that links them. So try to match on this. And if you don't get a match there, then try it on these things. And if you don't get a match there, then try it on these things. And like playing with those rules and then looking at the results and being like, do I still have too many duplicates? Did it roll too many people together? Like, is it
So
assuming
you're
that these two
saying
people are the same and they're not?
It has to be like fine-tuned over a period of time. That it's not going
It
to be
definitely
like
does.
perfect day one or perfect ever. It just kind of needs fine-tuning.
Right.
So my question to that is like, what kind of skill level of a person to maintain that? Like, could I do that as a truly functional non?
I knew you were going to ask
developer?
that.
I think that's a good question. And
Yeah.
I
Good
think people
question.
wonder about it, right? So if you invest into Customer Insights, do you also then have to invest in somebody to be able to manage it?
So from an actual like technical perspective, it's easy to manage. it's all like a web-based UI, and you
Like
click here and click
easy
here.
or like
Like
easy?
Power Automate easy or really easy?
No,
Or workflow easy.
like building a model-driven apps form easy. But there's a but here.
Knew that was coming.
Of course, just like if you were building a model-driven app, you also need to have some level of comfort and knowledge about the underlying data, or building an app, example like the underlying business process. When you get into customer insights, so the literally the first time that I used insights, it was a proof of concept with a customer, and they were like, we want to know if this thing is actually going to help us deduplicate our customers. So they gave me these massive spreadsheets of data, and I loaded them all into customer insights. And then I built all the little rules to be like, okay, we'll try to match the email, and then try to match the name, and try all these different things. And then I ran the unification process, and out the other side, I got 3% matches between systems. And I was like, okay, we matched 3%. Is that what we expected? And they were like, I don't know. We have no idea.
You're like, well, it's your data. I don't know the data.
I don't have any idea either. These are the rules that I built. Are they right? Is 3% what we expected? Did we expect 80%? But they didn't know, because they hadn't thought about what the data looked like in advance. So I feel like part of that fine-tuning process has to be you need to have at least some idea, and maybe it's on a subset, pick just 1,000 records or 100 records, be like, okay, these 100 here and here and here and here, I expect to end up with 80 customers. And so if I end up with 78, I'm probably good enough. If I end up with 30, something's gone wrong. It's too aggressively merging. If I end up with 120, which was actually one of my results at one point, somehow I ended up with more customers than I had source rows. Don't ask me how that happened. Then something's clearly gone very, very wrong. So you do need to kind of understand what your data looks like and what you're expecting to see. But from a usability perspective, it's all point and click. It's you're setting up rules that are select this field, equals this field, and then a level of confidence slider to be all the way from exact match, these must be exactly the same, including case sensitive, or all the way down to this is super fuzzy and they're just kind of similar.
Oh, I wish they would put fuzzy matching like that into Dynamics specifically.
Handy.
Mm-hmm. So Merlin, what other best practices do you have for someone that's getting started with it, or what other pre-work would you recommend? If they wanna, what can a business do ahead of time to start prepping for customer insights implementation?
It's a good question. I think, as I said, the most important thing is to have some idea of what your data looks like, so you know what you're hoping to see. And I think, again, this comes back to the it's not magic part. You do need to have data that matches between systems, but it doesn't have to be every system doesn't have to have something that matches every other system, because you can kind of daisy chain things together. So maybe between CRM and ERP, I have a customer number and I can match on that, and that's easy. Between ERP and e-commerce, I have a different customer number, or I have an email address or something, and I can probably match on that. Maybe the email also matches in CRM, but maybe those people aren't actually in CRM. And then from another system, well, now I've only got names, maybe phone numbers. And so then I can try to match, well, do those match this system, or maybe they match that system? But everything doesn't have to match everything else, because I can be okay, this key from here to here, and then a different key from here to here, and then a different match from here to here. But understanding what data you have available and how you might be able to link these things together is going to be pretty important, because that's one of the things the AI will not do for you. It has no idea which field matches which other field.
So anything else, Merlin or Liz, do you have any final questions?
I'm curious to hear Merlin's thoughts on the roadmap. If you have any guesses or facts on where you think the product will go, what's the future and the vision for it? Do you know?
I don't have any facts.
Okay, fine, guesses then.
What I can say is, like, watching the development of the product since it launched a couple of years ago, it's, and from my perspective, it's been actually truly impressive, like how quickly they've been improving customer insights. Like when I was first using it, this is maybe 6 months after they launched it, like I would go like week to week and see differences in the interface or like new features that became available. I think they're going more in the direction of enhancing and augmenting your data from outside, which is one of the features that they've had since launch. I haven't talked about yet, but you can like enhance your data with what they say proprietary data that Microsoft holds, which basically is all the Microsoft graph data. And they don't really tell you how they do this because it's all sort of like fuzzy, weird behind the scenes. Like we're using data that we have about people that we probably can't directly share about people. But like one of the enhancements is I can say, I can put in like some brand names or some interests, and then it'll go through and like tag all of your customers with like, we believe that this customer is interested in this brand with like this confidence level. So it'll be like, well, if I put in, you know, Coca-Cola and Pepsi or something, it might be like, oh, well, we're 75% sure that Ashley's interested in Coke. But, you know, Liz is 95% interested in Pepsi because, I don't know, we just know this somehow magically through Microsoft Graph. So I see them going more in that direction of like, what other information can you learn about your data from data that you don't have? And then making it more streamlined to like interconnect with other systems. So like initially at launch, it was like, okay, all your data is in insights. You can dump it into Dynamics marketing or sales, and that's it. And now there's a lot more connectors, and I think they're going to keep expanding that connector stuff so that you can be like, now I can push this data out to whatever marketing solution I want, or I can pull more data in a little bit more easily from other like predefined systems. Is my guess.
Do you think Microsoft will ever run into issues with like their graph data with like privacy, or are they collecting that in such a way that that's not really a concern?
I mean, they're not giving you anything direct. They're just giving you guesses. And I'm sure it's all aggregated, anonymized, whatever else. So it's also probably somewhere buried in your terms of use when you signed up for an Office 365 account. So
sure.
It makes me wonder, it has to probably be GDPR at least compliant, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Merlin, for sharing your insights today.
I see what you did there. It's good.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you for listening to the Dynamics Hot Dish podcast. For additional content and previous episodes, check out our website at dynamicshotdish.com, follow us on Twitter at DynamicsHotDish, and subscribe to our podcast for notifications. Thanks. See you next time.